Okay, welcome to the Lobo Den Podcast. That we had Anna Valenzuela. We talk about starting comedy. We talk about moonfall. There's a movie where the moon tries to kill Halle Berry specifically. It's a racist moon, so it tries to kill Halle Berry. And whatever else we talked about. We talked about your journey.
Am I allowed to talk right now?
You can talk, yeah. Yeah, you can talk.
Intros. Yes, we talked about journeys. We talked about moonfall. We talked about apps. We talked about shooting your shot.
And the gun cutters. The
gun cutters. Jesus Christ.
Cum gutters.
That is, man. You know what? Listen, you're thinking in two different languages right now. You're going to forget that.
Never forget it. So never forget.
Hashtag never forget.
Never forget 9/11. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Lobo Den.
Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. It's the Lobo.
Okay, welcome to the Lobo Den Podcast. I'm your host, Giovanni Diaz. To the left is Chrissy Ferreira. We're at the Lincoln Lodge. Across from me is Anna Valenzuela. What's up, Anna?
I'm at the Lincoln Lodge.
She is at the Lincoln Lodge. But before we start, we're going to do a little shout out to our sponsor. Today, we are actually sponsored by generic amonitrate. I don't know if you've ever taken amonitrate, also known as poppers in the LGBTQ community. Yeah. It's a popular drug that I took in Honduras on the drive from the airport to this place called San Pedro Sula. I had no idea. Some guy's like, hey, take this. And I thought it was like one of those Vicks things. I snorted it.
The Vixie. Yeah, there's those when you're in foreign countries. You can get them here now, but those things that like loosen up. Yeah,
they loosen up your. They loosen it up. He did cocaine.
It's Vicks on the go.
Vicks on the go. So amonitrate, I think it loosens up your rectum area and it helps you want to party. I didn't know that. Some dude just gave it to me.
Yeah.
So that is
how big is your asshole still?
It's not that big. It's regular. I've only had a little butt plug that had a diamond, not a diamond.
A diamond?
Crystal,
okay, fancy.
A crystal.
Those
at
are
the end
expensive.
Of it. Yeah, and this little strap on. It was like tiny.
Okay.
Because we were at the store and I was like, you know what? This is as big as I can get. Anything bigger, I feel like that's kind of gay. So I want this one's.
No.
This one's okay with, but welcome. Yeah. So I can do this one, but anything bigger, I was like, you know what? No. I'm still Mexican, set in my ways, kind of old school. So I was like, hey, none of that gay stuff. You're gonna peg me.
You know what?
You're the little one.
Yeah, I think that what we've all learned is that we're all a little bit gay, and it's good. So enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Have fun.
Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the spectrum. Enjoy the spectrum of sexuality. Explore all of your holes, and try generic anal nitrate. Save money. That is the brownest way you could do it.
Like as a Mexican brown or butthole brown? Oh, Mexican brown.
Right,
okay.
Yeah, Mexican brown. Like generic. You know what I mean? Like yeah. When you're like, it's so tough, you're not even getting Fabuloso, you're going to the 99 and getting awesome clean.
They don't have 99 cent stores. So
they don't have the 99 here?
They have Dollar Tree, Dollar General, but that's
different.
A California thing. So you grew up in SoCal, Southern California?
Well, my dad grew up.
Hell, as I call it.
Yeah, in the Cal. I was born in the Middle Cal. They call it Mid-State, and then a little town called San Luis Obispo, which is a town which is golf. It's also like what would happen if white folks are just left alone. Like there's just nothing but like famous stars and straps t-shirts. It's amazing. It's like 2001 forever there. And then I was raised in a little town called Ione, California, which had
ION?
IONE. It was original name was Bedbug, then it changed to something, then it was Bedbug again, and then it went to Ione. Yeah. It's a very fun Wikipedia.
Ione, that's interesting. And then you went to California. When did you go to Southern California?
Moved to Southern California in 2005 because I was in love. He was going to be a doctor. We broke up, of course.
How'd you guys break up?
It was just, I was 20 when we got together, and it was time. Did I have a little bit of a wandering eye? For sure. Did it wander?
You were young. You were 20.
Yeah, 20. Yeah. And then I started comedy in 2014. So
wait, when did you move to SoCal?
2005.
2005.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like a weird person that was like living in like Los Angeles and caught entertainment. I wasn't there for entertainment. I was there for tacos.
How'd you catch it? What happened? How'd you catch the comedy bug?
I've always been a really big fan of comedy, and it's really funny because my dad, I think every Latino dad is the funniest.
You're half, right?
Half, yes,
Halfsy,
yes,
okay.
yeah, halfsy. Is it okay if I'm still on this podcast?
Yeah. I had a Canadian yesterday. My first Canadian yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it a Mexican Canadian?
Nah, just Canadian. His dad was German, but Canadian. He had a bit. Right?
Coming over here, Canadians always coming over here and Australians and New Zealanders coming over here to steal American jobs, playing all our cops, starring in all our movies. That's
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
He's alive.
Yeah, doing all our comedy. It's one of my favorite ways to be arbitrarily nationalist is to be upset at other white wealthy countries.
Yeah, Canada.
Canada. Just get out of here, Australians. We don't need you. No, my other favorite thing to do in Canada, I've been to Vancouver, is to go, hey, where my
That's where Drake's from, right? No, he's not. Toronto. Right?
Toronto.
Same thing.
I don't know. I go up and I go, where my Latinos at? Nobody says anything. And then everybody starts laughing. And then I yell at them for having the audacity to have a Taco Tuesday at any bar up there. How dare they? Just don't eat tacos north of Portland.
I don't
on
eat
the West Coast.
pizza outside of Illinois. So when I go to California, you guys don't have. There's the chains. But I don't eat any pizza.
The little town I grew up in, I didn't even like pizza growing up. Ione, the Ionis. It had such a bad pizza parlor that I thought pizza was gross. I was like a little child with no joy.
Gross. Outside of Illinois, it's disgusting. Yeah. I don't like it. I haven't been to New York, but I don't want their pizza. I don't want this Detroit pizza I keep hearing about. It's not. I haven't had it, but it's like a thing.
It's like a doughy thing, right? It's like more of a focaccia situation with like a sauce and cheese. I don't hate it.
Have you had Illinois pizza, Chicago pizza, the real pizza, not the deep dish?
One of the indications that it's so funny because you would think it's the white half that did this to me, but it's definitely my sister and I we have different moms and food allergies.
Moms,
I can't eat wheat anymore. I'm one of them.
Is it wheat or gluten?
It's wheat. Yeah, it's wheat. I can't digest it anymore.
I can't either.
I know.
Well, this is the thing.
It's the colonizer's grain.
I can't, it's too white. Yeah. White people get bread and pastas. I can't.
And beer?
What happened? No, I have beer, but I don't like beer. It makes me feel, I can have one or two, I get drunk. I had beer. I had one or two beers, and I had this crazy buzz. And I could drink sometimes a whole bottle of whiskey, you know what I mean? And not act like I acted with that one beer. My girlfriend swore I did cocaine, and it's because
you were gluten crazy.
Yeah, because it's gluten. It was I was like, I didn't do coke, I swear. And
high five for both being we're glue. What would you call it? I'm
gluten intolerant.
Intolerant. Yeah, that's what
gluten is like a Mexican, and I'm like the dude from American History X, right? Yeah, and gluten is a Mexican. It's like, I don't want you in my body, inside of me.
Exactly.
Because you make me lazy. This is what happens. I have it, and then I'm done for 2 hours. I can't do anything.
Yeah, I don't feel good. I get real people think I'm pregnant, which is impossible because my body is haunted.
You killed a few of your ex-boyfriends, right?
I did.
With your pussy.
No, I did not kill them. I like how you were like, you know what? I'm going to class this up. Vagina. The vagine. That was actually kind of my first closing joke, and I've revisited it because
based on real events.
So here's how the comedy bug started. So I always loved comedy growing up. My mom, actually, my white mom, sounded like
Mexican dad, my mom.
White, and she was like 5'10", he was Chi-Chi height.
Okay.
My dad,
Amazonian.
Yeah, living the dream. Redheaded. He was he was trying to. Yeah, he was trying to make a giant. He was trying to make a giant. He was trying to make a Mexican version of the Northmen. You know what I mean? He was
the Northmen, Vikings.
Yeah, he was trying to make a Viking Mexican. You know what I mean? Just you know how occasionally you meet a Whitexican and they're you're like, dude. Here's the thing about being a Whitexican.
I'm tall for Mexican and I'm short. 5'9" or something.
Yeah, I'm 5'4" on a good day.
Okay,
5'4" after the chiropractor. Yeah. And the
chiropractors, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those guys.
What was I going to say?
Viking Mexicans.
Viking Mexicans. Yeah. You know how every 5 Whitexicans you meet, there's ones that look like me. We just look, Aztec genes.
Bicep.
Nose with an elbow. You know what I mean? We look like the statue.
Randy Savage finishing move nose. Okay.
Exactly. We look like that. And then every 5th Latino who's half something looks like Cameron Diaz or a young Rock. And I'm like, get out of here. Stop you're fucking up the range. Like, what happened? Like,
the Europeans came.
There was
and it was later they came. They came, like, there's a lot of Germans, and there's a lot of Louis C.K.'s Mexican.
I know.
He was born in Mexico.
I know.
There's a bunch of Canelo is Mexican. He's Mexican.
Yeah, of course.
AF as fuck. But he looks like he's a redhead.
Yeah.
He could potentially look,
but he
Irish.
still looks Latino to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he still looks Latino.
I think it's
to
in
me.
his eyes.
Yeah, it's definitely in his. It's also the boxing, probably. But anyway, so I was. My mom loved stand up, and she listened to everything. She listened to like George Lopez. She listened to like Pryor and Carlin. She kind of sounded like if Carlin was a lady, and looked a little bit like Jamie Lee Curtis. My dad would always be like, "Oh, my favorite lady in the world, my favorite actress is Jamie Lee Curtis. She's so beautiful." And I didn't realize he was hitting on her in front of me.
Hitting on your mom in front of you.
Yeah, just like being really silly. He was a really silly guy. He could go into a room and like occupy all this space with charm. His comedy taste was not good though. Like his favorite movies all starred oh my gosh, my brain.
Describe
Pauly Shore. Yeah.
In the Army now, Encino
all
Man.
Of them. Encino Man especially. What Encino Man did to the boomer Mexican, like Chicano dad, because it is about Los Angeles. It has a goofy white boy in it. It's everything they want to dream. The Weasel. He loved it. Whereas like my mom was just like, letting me listen to Carlin with her, like even the later Grumpy albums, like she was way into it.
When it was just angry,
just like pure vitriol.
There's a joke here and there, but vitriol. Yeah.
And she was very roasty herself. Like she was real
zingers.
Sharp tongue. And so, you know, as time went on, I was okay. So I'm living my life. I'm working in drug and alcohol treatment. I get laid off from like my dream job. I was the first of 19 people to get laid off because
what was the job?
I found this job. I transitioned from working in drug and alcohol treatment to working in a you were on the
other side.
Yeah, I was on the residential care coordinator for an autism center, which was like so fun. It was just a bunch of adults, and it was just they used to. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. This is terrible.
Man.
Please do not cancel me. This was a thing that was said to me. Okay, so here I am teaching a cooking class, right? And we're making pizza, and one of the students goes, and they're like in their 20s, and one of the students goes, "Anna, would you try some of this pizza?" And I said, "Oh no, I can't. I'm allergic to wheat." And he said, "I'm sorry. We forgot you're a glutard." And I took a knee. I had to, because I was like, you know, that's not an appropriate word. And then 5 autistic adults like looked me dead ass in the face and said, "That's our word. We can say it whenever we want." And I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, game.
Yeah, and then I had to walk in the office and I laughed at my own expense. It was the funniest because I had to like keep the straight like professional face.
Yeah,
anyway, loved the job, loved it. And then they realized because I had like, you know, I had a GED. I had a wild kind of childhood. My dad died when I was 17. My mom went to like Joe Arpaio's tent prison for like driving her car through
that's in Arizona
buildings.
Right?
Yeah,
the sheriff.
Yeah It's Arizona's
angry sheriff. Yeah.
Angry sheriff. He does not like us. Not a fan.
I think he doesn't like himself, so he takes it out on Mexicans.
That's it.
That's usually what happens.
That's it. And I'm willing to bet whatever sex workers he's hitting up in Arizona are all like real Mexican.
Spices.
Like not even
like
speaking.
my tia.
Yeah, exactly. Not even trying to speak English. Just like no, like just laughing at him, clowning him, making fun of him the whole time. You know, it's always those guys that are the weirdest.
The power guys. Yeah.
The power guys are always the ones that are like, put me in a cage and a baby diaper. You know what I mean? Like they're like really into it. So I was like, okay. So he. I then was living in LA and got laid off from this job that I absolutely adored. And my friend at the time was like, you know when you meet a friend and they're like, I love comedy. And then they start to tell you the types of comedians that they like. And you're like horrified because you're like, ugh.
That happened to me. I was with a girl and I was like, man, I was doing comedy. I loved it. She's like, what's the puppet guy?
Oh, no, not the puppet guy.
What's his name? name? I forget.
Dunham.
Jeff Dunham. Yeah, Jeff Dunham. And
apparently he's really nice to work with. Apparently he's like a really nice guy.
Yeah, he probably is, but it was like
it's not. Yeah, it's not like
it's not for
that's
me.
not impressive comedy taste. And so like
Fluffy, I respect a lot.
Sure.
And I saw Fluffy live and I loved it, but just like the stuff on TV, I was just never a fan of. But I saw him live and it was great.
Remember when like Univision and I think it would, like Telemundo on Fridays would have like their version of Premium Blend?
Yeah.
And it would always be like Fluffy and Cristela Alonso and then
something Locos, something was
yeah,
it?
something Locos, yeah, and but it would also have Bobby Lee because there's I contend that Bobby Lee is the most successful Latino comedian. We took him over.
He's Korean. The people don't know.
Yeah.
Bobby Lee is
Bobby
Korean.
Lee. But if you're like walking,
I've seen his pubes twice. You've seen his pubes, right?
Yeah,
you can't
absolutely.
not see his pubes.
Yeah,
if you
you
performed
can't.
around him, his pubes come out.
They are there. They are present. He likes to show them off, and they always look like they need conditioner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
They're rough. They're black rough, like that rough hair.
Yeah, kind of like how my hair is right now in the Chicago climate. It's not. I was actually like combing through my hair in the lift and it hurt. I was like, am I shanking myself? What's
wanted to shanks like shanks, but I mean, not like I've never shanked anybody, but the whole idea of the shank, like that Chappelle when they shanked the Miz or whoever the hell that was, that white dude, they had a fake Real World and they shanked him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Anytime anyone hands you a pocket knife or anything, just take a moment, check the weight, and go
and shank them.
Just a little bit. Just you gotta check it. But yeah, I was going through a time, and my and I went through a breakup, and different guy, because mama has fun, and then my friend tells me like she likes all the same comedy I do. You know what I mean? She's listening to Mara and she's listening to like all these different podcasts and she's really getting into it. And she was like, Patton Oswalt's doing like running an hour at the Largo every week, like every Tuesday for the next month. And I bought tickets to every single one and my husband won't go with me.
Comedy fan.
Yeah. She's a super fan. Every city, if you were listening to this, every city has a comedy super fan. It is usually a 50-something, very sweet lady who will like literally bring you baked goods, who is like the nicest person, who will adoringly tweet like a person with 3 followers that just is like trying their hardest and will tweet at the local club and be like, you should pass them. Like, they just love comedy and they love watching comedians develop. And that's her. And so I got to watch like basically the best comedian do an hour and make mistakes and put jokes next to each other that shouldn't be next to each other, and then after that she was like, I really want to start like trying to go to like some alt shows in LA, and I want to try to go to the Comedy Store, and I want to go to like
love the store.
Yeah, I haven't been around since
that's when I first saw you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I went to this is what I would do. I'd go to vacation, visit my family.
Yeah.
My family's on LA, and then once or twice during that week I was there, I borrowed my aunt's van, and then no, actually it was fucking, I don't know. It had some some Honda SUV, and it had the sticker DJ Cali Swift in the back, right? That's my cousin. He was a DJ, and I'd be at gas stations.
I love this with a full wrap around. You're driving around. You get out there like, that's not a DJ. Yeah, he doesn't have DJ energy.
No, he didn't. They asked me, they were like, oh, you're a DJ. We could use you. It's like, no, it's my cousin. Take the information. I'm not the DJ.
That's so funny.
I'm just borrowing the SUV. So I'd go to the store. I paid $20. I'd sit at the OR. And
were you paying $20 to park?
I'd pay whatever the parking was. Yeah,
you got to park on the hill.
I parked.
You got to go up the hill.
I go down into the like right under the mountain in that one parking lot, and then I pay whatever.
No.
I got
so if you would hang, oh my god, you should have asked. You gotta. So if you'd hung up,
stubborn sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I go. All the comics like drive up into that residential neighborhood because there's a couple of streets, and it's funny because it's people with mansions. Can you just imagine every Monday people with mansions have to deal with just like comedy cars, just like all these like Hyundais, PT Cruisers, dents like you wouldn't believe, just looking demolition derby up there, and then the comics go scuttling down the hill, and then they have to hike back up like slightly drunk and sad, whether or not they got up, and so yeah, that's where I would have parked. There's a free parking place. That's what I'm telling you. There's a free.
I did the free parking once, and then it's like by the time I got there, I was like, I didn't want to. I went the hill, and then I parked, and I was like, I felt the car was gonna go down. It is
terrifying. It is. You learn how to parallel park on an incline, and when I mean
scary.
Incline, it's like serious. We don't have snow in LA, so they build like they're just like, let's just hang a house off the side of like a 90-degree angle,
like those slides when you're a little kid. That's basically what you're parking on. And then, I would go and
like a roller coaster drop.
Yeah, exactly. The giant drop. Well, not the giant drop. Raging Bull, or I don't know what they have in LA. Magic Mountain.
Magic Mountain. Yeah, it's like parking on the Superman ride.
Exactly.
At Magic Mountain.
So you park it on Superman, and I'm there, and I went to the store, and I'd sit in the OR, and I sit there till the end of the night until Don Barris would come on at the end.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'd sit there, and it was so great because I would see, like, I'd be here. I saw Bill Burr. I paid whatever to see him at the Chicago Theater. Now I'm next to him by the bathroom at the OR, and it's so crazy. And I saw this what happened. I went. And then I went to get a ticket, and it was there with some girl, and she's like, I have an extra ticket. You want to go? So we go in.
Oh.
We're thinking we're going to the main room, and they're like, no, you got to go up here. They take us up to the belly room, and you guys were doing roast battle.
Yes.
And I was like, and I saw you. I saw,
God.
what's the Mexican, the Cholo Mexican?
George Perez?
Yeah, maybe.
Was I doing stand-up, or was I doing
You were doing roast battle. Yeah, we were doing the roast battle. So maybe, did you go up against Perez? I don't remember, but he was
No,
there.
I did not go up against Perez. I went up against a guy named Nick Petrillo, and he looks Latino, but we don't know because he was adopted. So
yeah,
he looks like Oaxacan, like he's
dark,
you know what I mean?
Paisas,
yeah. So he it could have been him. It could have been if it was kind of like a guy who's a little man bun kind of a situation, that's Josh Waldron.
I'm sure.
If it was,
I'll give you the names that I remember. You were there. Perez was there. The super swole dude was there. Oh, he was like swole as fuck. Black dude, super swole, muscle bound. I forgot his name.
Super swole.
Yeah, like muscles popping out of everywhere.
You gotta narrow it down. There's a lot of buff comics now.
Oh my god. And
there's so many. Oh, was it Iffy? No, Iffy doesn't roast battle.
No, he was roast battling. Does he have an overbite or underbite? His teeth stuck
he had
out
crazy
to me.
teeth? I don't even know.
Not crazy, but maybe like big smile or something like that.
A big smile, probably.
He had short hair. A black dude with short hair. Okay, but
we'll figure it out. I don't know. I did like 10 roast battles before hanging up my
rest in peace.
Yeah, hanging up my shank. Basically, I'm
pretty sure you won your battle, and if you didn't, your jokes.
I had a really good record.
Yeah.
I started losing toward the end, and that was actually kind of funny because like one of my last battles, I had gone to the doctor, and they were like, you have to have surgery because you have these benign tumors in your body, and I was like, cool. So at 10 o'clock tonight, I have to drive to the Comedy Store, and a child's going to call me a barren husk for an hour. And I just want you to know this sucks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I loved doing roast battle. When I started doing comedy, it was weird because I was hanging out at the Comedy Store, and I walked up to this comedian at the end of the night. It was like 1:15 in the morning. And I said to him, and the 1:15 comic is a different comic. That is a person performing for.
I was
in a comedy club last night, and night before last. And there was it was their new talent night, and it was sold out. And the crowd was so hot that if you just went up and went like, hey, they were like, ah! Like they were freaking out, right? And like, I was like, what is this? Like, this is basically their version of potluck. And I was like, this is crazy. And
that's the Monday open mic sign up with potluck. Okay.
And so this comedian turns to me, and he was like, yeah, this would be like if the Comedy Store had an open mic. And I turned to him, and I could not. It was like he had farted in my mouth. The look on my face, I was like, gross. I was like, you've clearly never gone up at potluck. And he was like, no, I mean, I've been to the Comedy Store. And I said, well, let me tell you, potluck is comedy on hard mode. That is 4 drunk Yugoslavians in the front.
What time did they put you guys up for potluck?
They put you up at 7 o'clock. For some reason, the sun always out. Like it's from 7 to 8, It is because it's California. The sun is out and the windows are like they haven't closed the curtains, so it's not even dark in there.
Oh, all
it's
right.
just you're performing in the light of the Lord, and it is too much.
Hallelujah.
It is too much. Yeah, and then there's 30 of the most bitter, angry comics that didn't get up, just lurking in the back like gargoyles, only laughing at your failure. So that's potluck. At least when I started comedy. But I started doing like I was at in 115 is very similar to that. It's like 10 drunks waiting for their Ubers. And this guy, he was a good writer.
And these aren't people that necessarily come to comedy. People don't know them. Or these are people, oh, look, there's comedy. And tourists just kind of come in.
The Comedy Store kind of looks like if a big house with like a cool giant front porch that was having a party. It sort of looks like if a frat house had jokes.
Yeah, because there's a bar right in front.
There's a bar right in front. So people just kind of like wander in. And the guy gets off stage and I was like, hey, man, that was really great. Thank you. It was really funny. And he goes, oh, you're a comedian. And I go, no, I'm not. He goes, only comedians think I'm funny. You're a comedian. And I was like, I'm not a comedian. And he was like, yes, you are. We're like arguing over whether or not I'm a comedian. He pulls over Jay Light, the door guy, roast battle guy, pulls him over and goes, Jay, tell Anna about potluck. In my mind, I'm like, do I bring chips and salsa? Like that, I don't know what's going on. And then after that, it was like he had put a curse on me, like a spell. I would be like at work and somebody would be like, have you ever tried stand up? Or like, I'd be at the grocery store and somebody would be like, did I see you on TV? Like, are you like do you do comedy? And I'm like,
are you spiritual at all? I hear universe. It sounds like universe.
Big universe energy.
Universe is talking.
Yeah, big universe energy, right? And so like, finally my boss pings me because I was listening to a Canaan album and laughing too loud in the office. It was very quiet.
He's from
office.
Chicago, right? Chicago,
yeah.
He has a beard.
And he has a beard. That's so funny. I actually grew a beard for the show tonight. So my boss pings me with a local open mic. It was at a coffee shop called The Library across from CSULB. And so I was living in Long Beach at the time.
OBC.
OBC. What? And it was a grim mic that was happening to college students. And I walked in and I did bad. And as you should, I don't trust anybody who's like, oh yeah, I killed on my first set. Go home. Don't do that. I'm struggling right now with a new bit that it killed in LA. Like the first time I ran it, it fucking destroyed. And then I left the city, 50 miles, and the jokes just died. And I was like, what is happening? So like you don't want a false sense of security with anything when it comes to comedy. And but I just kept going and it was so fun. I got open mic pneumonia like within a month. The open mic host was like, you should come back. And then he got open mic pneumonia. And then I ended up hosting an open mic at like 2-3 months in.
What was the mic at? Local.
Yeah. Again, it's a coffee bar, and they used a wireless mic that never really worked.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I have a rule. Wired. I go wired. I'm a wired person.
That's in your rider. A wired mic, a bowl of green M&Ms, and Takis.
And ammo nitrates.
Generic anal nitrates. Yeah. So I started doing it. And then how I ended up roast battling was all of the Orange County and Long Beach comics were doing roast battle because they couldn't figure out another way to get the Comedy Store to acknowledge them.
Except for there's that one bringer show this lady had who messaged me. Like somebody gave me a contact and it's like, oh, just come bring 20 people. And I was like, yeah. And I kind of knew what bringers were. And I was like, I ain't doing this.
Don't do.
Yeah, I saw the email and I was like, okay. Like,
yeah, I always respectfully decline. I'm like, oh, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate you. I don't do bringer.
You know Jay Washington?
Yes.
He's aggressive. Yeah, he's aggressive online.
He is aggressive. He's
about bringer shows. And
he's aggressive about a lot of things. Yes, he's got that he's a Chicago guy.
He used to host Riddles open mic here. And, the open mic and Riddles.
He's one of my favorite people. Every time I see him, he's like, either everything's going great or he's on the brink.
Yeah. Does he still post all those pictures? I haven't seen of him.
He's like real buff. Yeah, he's like real buff.
indie wrestling, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's living his best life.
Yeah.
He's
he was
really,
just on a show with the guy from the Zombie Show. I'm so bad at
the
names.
Zombie Show.
He's not on the Zombie Show, but the actor's on the Zombie Show.
Why are we becoming our fathers actively? Like, what is that? Like, my dad always used to be like, "Hey, Anna, hand me the chingadera. Hand me the chingadera." But and I'm like, the spoon? Did you forget spoon?
That's I forget a lot. Did you hear me earlier? I was like the speaking machine. Like
you know, the one I do all the time is I'm like homeboy or homegirl because I know nobody's name anymore. I'm like, homegirl with the face.
Yeah.
Like a face.
Well, that's my whole life was nicknames because I couldn't remember. This happens to everybody. You meet somebody. Hey, Jennifer. Immediately it's gone. So now it's like I stop and I'm like, what is your name? And I still forget, but I try. But
she's Jenny with the good hair.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Jenny with the good hair.
Jenny not from the block.
Yeah, Jenny not from the block.
Yeah, you got to come up with a nickname. That's why we all had nicknames.
Mexicans all have la taca, el muerto. This is in Mexico. This guy named El Muerto drove me and my mom to the Virgin Mary. And I remember El Muerto. Yeah. He was attacked and we drove to the Virgin Mary and then my mom was crawling. Because you're supposed to crawl to the Virgin Mary for the front of it.
See, I wasn't raised Catholic. My dad was like trying to do it different. My grandma used to pray over me all the time.
Yeah.
No religion at all.
Oh, you are
Heathen.
a rebel. Yeah.
Heathen.
You're a monster.
Yeah. White mom, not baptized. I basically was a demon.
Yeah, I was an atheist for a year, and I remember so stupid. Like I was like that college kid. I just found out about atheism. I was like, you can not believe in God. It's like this is a thing I didn't know. So then I was aggressive about it.
There's an you can opt out of this subscription.
I had no idea. You know what
Please
I mean?
Unsubscribe me from this mailing list, the Lord.
So I was trying to convince my like 7-year-old grandma. I was like, hey, not even like she's Catholic. Like no, you can't even be Christian. You have to be Catholic.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's not a God. And she's like, you're Catholic. Like,
hey, you know what? The ones that are sticking
naive.
to Catholicism, it's the born again Christianity is like hit the Latino community really hard. The Pentecostal stuff. It's like
a lot of cholos, born again cholos.
Born again cholos. Yeah, a lot of folks. Yeah. My higher power, I choose to call Jesus Christ.
Yeah, remember that? There was that video of that cholo.
You are still tatted up to the ears. Calm down, dude.
Yeah, like you just got out of San Quentin. Like, calm down, dude.
No, Chino if it's LA. But there's like so I started doing stand-up, started doing roast battle with the specific goal in mind to just get better at joke writing. And then 2 years into stand-up, I was on TV. And it was the weirdest, most surreal experience. And it was like, I'm so grateful for it.
How'd you get tapped? Do you remember when it happened that night? Or?
They called.
You weren't represented, right? Or anything like that?
No, I'm still not represented. If you're listening to this podcast and you would like to take 10% of drink tickets that I earn, please contact me at Anna V is Funny on all social media. But yeah, it was just organic. I just had like some good shows. And one of the things, and I will say this, many roasters hire people or they have people write their jokes for them. Yeah. Because the whole point of me doing roast battle was for me to get better at joke writing. I was very much like, when a little kid's like, I want to learn how to tie my shoes, and then they're doing it for like hours. That was very much my energy. I was like,
I still can't tie my shoes. Did you see me? I tied it before the podcast, untied.
It was really, I was afraid for you. I was like, why not Velcro at this point? Just Velcro.
Well, the shoes before these, you just had a zip tie or whatever. It was those flat Joe Rogan shoes I had before this.
Flat Joe Rogan shoes.
Yeah.
Does he got weird flat Joe Rogan shoes?
It's them barefoot things. So what happened? I was in Honduras.
Oh, he's got barefoot shoes?
But without the toes, right? I don't do the toes. I don't do the toes. That's too hippie for me.
That's upsetting.
I can't do that. But I was in Honduras.
I don't even like a toe sock.
No. Or the Jesus sandals. Yeah, my girlfriend hates that. But what happened was I was in Honduras. Okay. It was an island, and I was there with some El Salvadorians that eventually robbed us or robbed our friends. But I was like, we're on this boat, and then I forgot, and I took them to the bathroom to do drugs allegedly, and then I still have a day job allegedly, and then
wait, hold on. So you got robbed, and there was also drugs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
allegedly,
I was like, all right, it's gonna happen, right? So I take him to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, and then everybody comes back from the boat. We were on some boat, and then we had to go back to the room. And my sandals were on the boat, and I'm not going to walk all the way back. So I walked barefoot down the whatever old rock road.
Both ways uphill.
But then as I was walking barefoot.
In the hot snow?
Yeah, in the hot snow. And as I'm walking, it just felt good walking barefoot. And there was a thing called rooting. I don't know, if you're connected with the earth, blah, 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 if you're barefoot. And I really liked it. So when I got back, I looked into it, and then I like some book that was on a podcast named Kelly Starlet about walking barefoot in the shoes. So I went that way. So I have like minimalist shoes. So I've been wearing them forever because I always had back pain and things.
I always have back pain, but I don't know if minimalist shoes help me with that.
It helped me walk because I heard the podcast. I was like, back pain and this, walk like this, do that, and I was like, yeah. And I never looked at the book and did the research. I did like as much research as I do, and then I'm minimalist now.
I think a lot about doing. I think a lot about body mechanics because I've been doing. I have a 3rd degree black belt in karate.
Oh, really?
Latinos love karate.
Did you fight?
Yeah, I used to fight like competitively and stuff. Yeah. I think a lot about body mechanics. And
I always wanted to do karate, but
you should do it.
They never put me in. I started taking an MMA class, but the instructor was this guy that I supplied with something white and powdery like before, and then I didn't realize until a few weeks into the class when I'm just looking at him. He looks familiar. Don't think anything of it. And there's a group message, and then I saw that his number was already saved on my phone.
But like,
and I was
why can't you just still go into the class? That doesn't. Why do you have to leave?
So I have limited time to do things now. So I have my priority list, and the top of it is golf. I'm a golf.
You're a golf guy?
Yeah, I've been in the golf industry for my day job for like 22 years.
Really?
Yeah, I like golf.
Wow. In Denver, I met a bunch of golf comics. Golf.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to start a golf podcast this winter. Like, I'm obsessed with golf. I'm playing Whistling Straits on Saturday, which is like one of the top golf courses in the nation.
Okay.
So I need to get rest. Right. I just re-gripped my clubs today at work.
Do people, when you're playing golf, this is going to be funny. Do you ever get like, when you're in, because I assume like golf's a pretty white space.
Yeah.
Do you ever get.
Sort of.
Kind of.
But it's not around me because I grew up with these caddies, and we're all Mexicans and stuff. We all play golf with each other. But I came from the caddy yards. That's how the guy I'm playing with went to high school. I went to high school with the guy I'm playing with on Saturday, and I would make fun of him. And he was like, he was caddying when he was 16. They were making like adult money.
Yeah.
They make a lot of money, and he was like, and I'd be like, golf's not a sport. Because one time he showed up in the shirt, and they had little golf clubs, his little golf shirt, and I just roasted him. I was like, this is not a sport. You're not a dweeb. I was like, you're a fool. Right?
What sports did you play at the time?
I failed. I tried wrestling for a little bit in 8th grade.
Okay.
I was always a little bit chubbier for my weight. So then I went to practice and everything, and then this guy, so I'm supposed to be at this weight. Because I'm chubby, I'm facing a guy who's actually a lot stronger than me because I'm not at the weight I should be.
I also think that like in the 80s and 90s, they looked at a lot of Latinos and they were like, that's a chubby person. And that's just our
body, our genes.
Our body is shaped in a way that's like brown, round, and low to the ground. And we're ready to like harvest corn and, shovel bodies, I guess. Die of the
herpes?
flu.
Oh, you can't die of herpes.
The flu. You can die. You can die of a lot of things. Do you know that like old folks' homes have really high rates of STDs? And,
they do.
Old people are dying of gonorrhea, like complications from gonorrhea now.
Yeah, like The Notebook. It's like
just holding hands, but everything burns at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, there's where were we? Comedy, that kind of stuff. Rose Battle. Yeah, and then after that,
I never did karate, and I'm not doing karate now because it's like. I got the golf bug again like a month ago.
I'm just happy people are outside. You know what I mean? Like I doing karate is a barefoot thing. But because I have a back injury from doing karate, this is really funny. I can't. One of the top things I'm not allowed to do is golf because of my hip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I know.
Literally,
guys.
it's like if you look up sacroiliac joint injury, it literally says it's like list of activities you cannot do.
You got this for karate.
Yeah, well, that or just like being a drunk teenager. I partied a lot, and like I remember falling upstairs once, like and then into an ambulance. It was like real. I was like a blackout drunk.
You started early on the booze?
13.
How'd you start? You were just hanging out with the cool kids? I didn't hang out with cool kids, so I didn't drink until I was like 20.
My parents got a divorce, and my both my parents were alcoholics. One was in recovery, and one was in jails and institutions her whole life. And so I ended up, I had always been kind of around like 12-step culture, but when they got a divorce, I moved to Arizona, and I was like, I'm gonna reinvent myself, and it's like, how in shows and stuff, a girl would like, she'll like straighten her hair, like get contacts, I was like, I'm gonna become a raging alcoholic. And that's pretty
What
much
was your
happened.
booze of choice? Anything?
I was a whiskey drinker, like you.
Me too.
Yeah, I was
I
a whiskey
am.
drinker. And also, like, I remember my first drink, I drank a whole 40. Like, a whole 40.
A 40 of malt liquor.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Well, malt liquor is disgusting, but when I was drinking, I found malt liquor. I didn't know about malt liquor, and I bought a 40, and I was like, "This is so cheap." And then you can. I was drinking King Cobras. I was drinking King Cobras.
I love a deal.
Yeah, and I took him to a party, and I thought I did a few times. I did this drink. I thought I found a drinking hack. So I was like, "Oh my god, this is so inexpensive, and I can do this, and I can do this every day."
Yeah.
And after the next day, after drinking all that, I was like, "Okay, I can't."
The only drinking hack is shoplifting, which I was very good at. I was really good at shoplifting booze.
Booze.
Yeah, I would just like walk in and then confidently walk out like a teenager.
You would just take it with you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was.
If you're confident, people just let
you can
do
get away
anything.
with a lot. Yeah, you can get away with a lot. A smile, confidence, and just like, just a little brisk walk.
I used to steal gum when I was drunk. My thing was I would steal it I would leave.
You're a bad boy. Oh my God.
Tried it. I know.
He's so bad. So crazy.
My thing was my thing was how I'd get off was I'd steal the gum in front of the guy at the register at the convenience store, but I have to do it in front of him. So the gum was right in front of him. So as I'm talking to him, I would steal it. And that was my thing. And I get in the car. I was like, I'm such a badass. I stole.
They were like, it's that gum guy. They were like, man, look at him stealing. I'm just imagining you, like, all the cameras on you, everyone's staring at you, and you're just like, I'm being really sneaky.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then you're like stealing, just like, I'm stealing the gum.
Did you have a MySpace? I was a MySpace douchebag for a little bit.
Briefly had a MySpace. I always arrive to social media a day late and a dollar short. Very not great at it. But maybe someday we'll post a clip that makes us all go viral or something.
I have 2 clips that had a bunch of stuff, but on TikTok, one it's like almost at 1 million, and the ones that wouldn't. That's it.
Flex, okay, flex. I didn't know I was with a star.
Nothing happened because I always delete the app. I'm a little bit paranoid. I used to be a conspiracy guy, so
you used to be a conspiracy guy?
Yeah, no.
What are your conspiracies?
I think everything, like the 9/11, the old school stuff. Not the moon landing. The moon landing, I was never like, we didn't land on the moon. But I was deep.
Have you seen Moonfall?
No, what is that? I haven't watched a lot of new things. I watched like Seinfeld.
It's on. Do you have HBO Max?
No. Well, okay. My stepson's iPad has HBO Max, but I just started watching Curb on it.
Are you stealing HBO from your stepson?
When he's over, he's with us half the week.
Cabron, what are you doing?
So that's because this guy, one of my customers, is like, you gotta watch Curb. You gotta watch Curb. And then I was like, because I watch Seinfeld every day. That's all I watch. So he'd been telling me, like, you watch Seinfeld? Yes. He's like, you still haven't watched Curb? And I was like, no. And then I looked it up one day, and it's like on HBO Max. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
I can't. It's out of my wheelhouse. And then.
What do you mean? It's only $7 a month or something.
But I'm already paying for Netflix. I can't. I don't want to pay for another thing. Okay. I don't use it. I barely even use that. I tell my girlfriend, let's just get rid of Netflix, but it has Seinfeld.
You should watch Moonfall. If any,
Moonfall is a show or
Moonfall
a TV?
is a movie that came out, a real motion picture release where
was it the gay black dudes, right?
No, it's a disaster. That's Moonlight. Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about like. It's a bad movie about how, it's a disaster movie about how the moon is secretly powered by
white
stars.
women. Okay, no.
Well, yeah, so white women, yeah. So like just like condensed Karens, and then it starts getting mad at the Earth because there's like a bad alien entity in it as well, and it starts.
Have you seen Moonfall?
Just listen, it's crazy.
Does it try to be serious?
Yes. They thought they were making 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's by the same writer-director as
Sharknado?
Independence Day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Everybody who signed up from that movie, the guy who played Samwell in Game of Thrones? You don't know. You don't have HBO. You don't know.
I know. I know there's a dragon. There's a big dude.
There's a husky dude. There's a husky dude.
No. I just know the big, good-looking guy to women.
Sweet British actor. It's one of the funniest things about that movie is I'd go, man, he really delivered that scene. It's very poorly written. Anyway, here's the deal. Halle Berry's in it.
Really?
I'm telling you, listen, people thought they were making 2001: A Space Odyssey. Anyway, so the whole point of the Moonfall thing is that the moon is trying to crash into the earth, and they're trying to.
Why did the moon get mad again?
Because humans, it's ancient alien shit, which is so funny as a Latino.
I used to be into that for a little bit.
You
I have
cannot.
my phases.
That is so what? That is the most. That is hate. That's brown on brown violence. You know why ancient aliens exist? It's so white people. Because here's what happens: white people looked at Aztec pyramids. They looked at native pyramids. Like there was this big land pyramid here in in the Midwest, right? Like they looked at these artifacts and they said, you know what? There is no way Jose could have made that. No. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that had to be fucking aliens. Oh, you mean it lines up with
Anunnaki.
It lines up with the stars and like the sun and the moon and is also kind of a calendar? Yeah, that couldn't have been Mexicans. It couldn't have been Aztecs. No way. Is colonialism. Get that? See, that's the thing about conspiracy theories. You got to be careful because eventually, like, you have your conspiracy theory and then it crosses a line and it somehow ends, like, it goes through all the levels of racism and ends with the Jews. I have no idea how it always ends with the Jews.
That annoys me so much. And this is the thing. So there's people I'm friends with on Facebook, and I think like I agree with them a little bit politically, and I was like, yeah, and then they go Jews, I'm like, what happened? I'm like, I liked you. Why?
The universe put me in front of you today to reverse red pill you to like blue pill you back to the other side.
It's the truth. Why? It annoys the fuck out of me. Like I like this dude, and it's like then and I was like,
no,
why?
No.
I've worked for Jews for 22 years. I love Jews.
Listen. Any culture where you come over and you leave full, I'm happy. You know what I mean? So Moonfall, watch it. It's hilarious because it's just a lot of people running from the moon. So they're just like running, right? And they're like, oh no, it's the moon. And when you watch Moonfall, if you're listening to this, I want you to imagine me and my roommate on a full moon watching Moonfall. And I just want you to imagine us speaking 2001, going, moon, 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 moon.
Are you a moon person?
I've
met a lot of ladies who are like all about the moon. My cousin, they're moonies without being
the more rights they take away from women, the more crystals and tarot decks are purchased.
Yeah,
I think there's a direct correlation. I think like ultimately, you know, it's so funny. Even growing up like half white and stuff, like there's always a little bit of brujeria in the house. You know what I mean?
My dad turned to Santeria and crystal meth, but he started with Santeria
at the same time.
As he was older, like I saw the bracelets, and then I went to my house, and my sister was living with me, and then I saw the thing in a corner. I was like, "What are you doing? Giving money?" And I was like, "What? How'd you get hustled into this? Like another one?" It's like Santeria. I feel it's like no offense because I have people who are Santeria, but I don't like religions. There's a lot of money giving.
Santeria or Santa Muerte?
Santeria, okay. For sure Santeria, and then the Santa Muerte is that I forget.
She's a.
Oh, that's she. There's a guy.
There was a cult
guy.
Yeah, the narco guy.
He was in my house. A candle in my house. Yeah.
There's a lot of like basically, you know, we weren't like an egg rubbing family or a Vicks family, but we were definitely a sage and hot salty water family. I don't know how is it that hot salty water cures your skin ailments, your sore throats, and also your spiritual needs. But hot salty water.
This is the thing about the brujeria was like my mom she wouldn't believe that my dad was just a piece of shit and it was a cheater. He was like, somebody put brujeria on him. Somebody put a curse. That's what. It's like, look, you know what you got with this. Like, it's pretty obvious. My dad, like, look at his actions.
Your mom needs my therapist, her name is Amalia, and she is from Chile, and she's Chile. Funny because she has like the thickest accent. She couldn't say my ex's name. His name was Stuart, but she refused. She couldn't say Stuart with a U. Yeah, she was Stuart, as Steve, and she just like yells at me all the time. I pay for a Tia, which is great.
So how did you kill your boyfriend?
Great question. So it was a series of events. So just before I started stand up, went on a date. I was set up on a blind date with somebody.
This is before the apps, right? Old school dating?
No, I mean, apps have been happening for a long time.
Yeah?
Yes. How long have you been in a relationship?
I was single, but I didn't Did I use the app?
Apps have been happening forever.
I was single my whole life.
You know who's having an old school resurgence? OK Cupid.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, all the elder millennials, like if you got gray pubes, you up on OK Cupid. You having a great time.
I had it for a little bit, but I don't know if I used the apps too. I had them, but it wasn't my.
I use the apps in LA. I don't have to use the apps when I'm on the road. I don't know what is going on with dudes. I gotta tell you, I had myself a nice little respectable older TF fling while I was gone. This he's 33. This grown man had abs down to his toes. I was like, they don't make them like this in LA.
The thing where it like goes in and stuff.
Cum gutters. That's what they're called.
Cum gutters.
Yes. Yeah. Well, okay. When I ask straight people, and I am mostly, mostly strictly dickly, pussies is sometimes food. You know what I mean? So there's, I asked, so straight guy, it was like, what do you call that? And he was like, it's a V. I was like, what do you mean it's a V? Yeah. He goes, it's a V. I go, it's not a V. It's cum gutters. And he was like, no one calls it that. I call my friend, my gay homie, and I'm like, hey, what do you call what Brad Pitt had in Fight Club?
Oh,
the ab situation. And he goes, cum gutters. And I go, that's what I call it. And he goes, yeah, but you're secretly a gay man who was raised in a trailer park. Like you have real like trailer park gay energy. But yeah, that's what I call them. So I want to give you that heads up that I call them that, but most people call them AV.
A V. Okay, so you said the CGs. You were in a trailer park?
Yeah, I live in one now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, but you're in SoCal. No, where are you now?
Yeah, they have trailer parks in California.
Southern California.
Yeah, even in nice neighborhoods they have them. We live in a trailer. It's a single wide trailer.
LA County?
In LA.
Where
in
LA
County. In Eagle Rock.
Okay.
Lovely Eagle Rock, California. And the house has a 12-foot skeleton in front of it, which is great.
For Halloween.
For all the occasions. If you have a 12-foot skeleton, you're not taking it down. Where are you going to put it?
We didn't take down our Christmas tree for like a long time.
That's just Latino shit.
Yeah.
That's just, you keep that up till what, Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
9/11.
9/11.
We take it down. We take it down when the towers went down.
It's a tumbleweed, actually, by the time you take it down. It's become a cactus. It's a succulent. Okay, dead guys. So I'm going to tell you the real truth. I tell the joke differently, mostly because, do you know who Brian Simpson is, that comic?
It sounds familiar.
He's got a Netflix thing. He's super funny. One day he told me this is how this joke became my first closer. He was like, just so you know, you're chronologically doing it wrong. I was like, no, I'm doing it right. He said, no. Audience logic, different. So I was in a relationship with a little dude who had a stroke while we were having sex, right when he came.
Little dude, Filipino or Mexican?
White dude.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Little Orange County white dude.
Right,
good tattoos, lots of hardcore music, punk.
I had my phase, yeah.
Yeah, we all, God damn it. I try to quit these white guys. Can I tell you, here's the thing. If you're on a dating app and you're a person of color, shoot your shot, bro. Like, don't just message somebody good morning 72 times. Like, we're not gonna
close. You need closing.
You gotta close. You can't just come in and
ABC.
be like, yeah. You gotta always be closing. And also, because that's the thing is, white guys come in with their white privilege energy, and they're like, hey, how's it going? You look really fun and exciting. Can I take you on a date? That assertiveness, deeply attractive.
Yeah.
Right. Not to say I won't ask a guy out, but also those apps are like low key exhausting. It feels like doing only the farm portions of an MMORPG. Like, it's just
what?
Massively online, like World of Warcrafts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those games,
yeah, those kind of games. So dude has a stroke and nearly dies, and then
after you guys did the nasty.
Okay. Yeah, and we were together for a while after that. I'm not a monster. And then we broke up. And he lives in Sweden now. He's still alive. He's a real person.
Okay.
Then I went on a date. I was set up on a blind date with somebody to see Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds. I was like, I don't care what hamburglar ass motherfucker is on the other side of this equation. I'm going to go see Nick Cave at the Ace Theater. Dude dies 2 days after the date because he worked for the TV show Cops.
Yeah.
He was shot on location. I'm not kidding. He was a sound guy. Yeah, got shot Yeah, he was wearing Kevlar, got one in the head. And it's a real thing. And then about a month after that, I was dating somebody in my 12-step program who then died of complications from diabetes. And
Patrice O'Neill?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. He was a well-known sober comic.
12
Yeah.
steps.
So yeah, super. So then I went to. I was in therapy. Shout out to my therapist, Ebony Jones. Very funny, and she let me. Not all therapists let you tell jokes. They see it as like a deflection, but humor, especially since my dad got sick, humor was like the way we survived. Kind of the horror show of my dad dying slowly. Yeah, and so. I'm just cracking jokes because at this point I'm like, the fuck is going on here? I fuck one of them. He has a stroke, goes blind while we're having sex. Then I just went on a date with one. We just hugged, dead. And then the other one, I liked him so much, and now he's dead. I don't think I should be allowed on the streets by myself. And she was just laughing her ass off. And when I sat down to do stand up, and she was also a big part of like, you go to a lot of these stand-up shows. Why don't you ever try to do it? Like, she kind of like put that together too, that like I have this part. We're storytellers as a culture. No. You know what I mean? Latinos. Like if you can't cut it up with like the family, like you're
worthless.
No one likes that. No one likes that energy. Come to the party with food and a beverage and a story. Don't be boring. Yeah. Don't be boring and don't be gullible. You know what I mean? And so like I wrote down all these things, like the lists of premises that I believed were like relatable. You know what I mean? Because they're always like, you got to be relatable. Relatable is not my brand, apparently. I just keep talking about what's happened in my life, because the nice thing about starting at 32 is that I had a whole life before that. And so once I figured out how that joke worked, I still do it. I do it, but I do it with a different twist now, that like, I'm not unfortunate for having those experiences, but that I am a secret demon puss bruja who's going to kill the Supreme Court one consensual fuck at a time. And that's my take on it now. And so it's been quite a journey, but that's how that happened. It's like a lot of my stand-up, there is not just a kernel of truth. There's like a cob. There's a whole corn cob of truth. There's a whole
the movie popcorn or the butter.
Yeah, there's some movie popcorn for sure. So yeah, it's been a really fun journey. And sometimes it's like I turned 40 this year. I don't have kids. I'm not going to have kids. I found out I have early menopause.
Okay.
EP.
EM.
Here's my thing. It is no surprise that Roe v. Wade got overturned and my body just was like, no more estrogen. Fuck this. We're turning the ovaries off. Like,
shut it off.
She can't.
Right off.
No. I've never even been bridesmaid. I've never been married.
I was supposed to be a person at a wedding, but it was
person. Were you going to be the flower girl?
The main guy. Except for the guy who doesn't get married. The main bro or whatever.
The main bro.
But I didn't have the money to go because I was only caddying and I wouldn't work in the winter. And I didn't have enough money.
You mean the now I can't. Now I can't remember the groomsman.
But the head one. The lead
best man. Thank you.
The best man.
And the woman with fabulous hair for the win on that one. Like, the main groomsman.
And then they were like, I can't go. They had a destination wedding, and I wasn't financially stable. I was like, I can't, bro. So I didn't.
A destination wedding is an act of aggression to your poor friends. Yeah, like, how dare you? Like, you're gonna
afford it.
You're gonna make me. I once went to a destination wedding in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco in the winter. No, you just want to sit in this wet cloud and watch these people get married. And she was barefoot. I was like, I turned to my ex.
She was white?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
About to say.
Everybody was white but me. I turned to my ex and I was like, I will never forgive them for this. I'm so cold. I'm so furious. Food was okay. But
was it a white wedding? I don't know. Anna, we're running out of time.
Did we run all the way out of time? Do you have questions for me? I can lightning round those questions if you want.
I do.
It's almost like I've had a bunch of podcasts and I know how to talk.
Thank God. I've had some where it's
I know.
Oh, yeah.
We've like all had that
one word answers. It's like, all right, what are you doing here? You asked me to do it. Anyways, so do you have any last... It's ridiculous. Do you have any last words? And then we'll go to plugs. You're not going to die. you're gonna kill people with your pussy. But
yeah, last words. You know what? If you are, last words. Shoot your shot. Whether that is
be a man.
Whether that's on an app, in person, in your life. If you've got a thing going on in your life, or if you've got an obsession like stand-up or ballet or whatever, karate, whatever it is, then go ahead and shoot your shot. Just do the deal, because you don't know when the moon's gonna fall on the earth and kill us all.
Plugs. You got plugs now.
Plugs. Okay, so when is this episode coming out?
It's gonna be a few weeks. But
a few weeks. Okay, so by the time you hear this episode, I will have been in your town and you missed it. But you can find me all my dates at Anna V is Funny. I switched it to Funny because Mama did not have the self-esteem, but Amalia, the therapist, says you should step into your power. I just put Anna V is Fun before. I was like, because I knew I was fun. I was confident and fun, but I wasn't sure if I was funny. So all of my social media is Anna V is Funny. And then you can find me at annavalenzuela.com. And I don't have a car right now. So my Venmo and Cash App is still Anna V is Fun, because I don't know how to change those yet. But I definitely, once I have a car, I'll go back to being the brutal road comedian that I am. And I hope to see you soon. And yeah. This was really fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, follow Lobo Den Podcast on Instagram, the other social medias, the Chinese one with the TikTok. Patreon, $3 a month. Support the Patreon. Support. I have a baby now. Help. I put a lot of free content. 7 months, I think, or almost 8. Looks like me. And then I had a pregnancy scare the other day, but I still think she's pregnant. But it said twice. It said twice no, but she's nauseous. I don't know. Maybe she's sick.
What?
So then follow Lobo Den Podcast. Follow the Patreon. Support, tell a friend. And again, support the Lincoln Lodge. We have Christy here. And I think
Christy,
that's it.
So nice meeting you.
Okay. Lobo Den.
Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. Lobo Den, Lobo Den, Lobo Den. It's the Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. It's the Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. Lobo Den. It's the Lobo